Welcome back once again to Raise Up Mental Health TV. If you are just joining us for the first time, please do well to subscribe. Don't go too far. Do well to subscribe so that you could get notification when we drop new videos. So some days back we started um a new topic where we're talking about spotting sadness, depression temperamentally, because we've seen cases where people see some person's picture and just find out, oh, this person committed suicide, how come? This person is dealing with depression, how come? And you're like, but this person didn't show sign, this person was always happy. But then we have come to find out that even when your natural nature is, you're always bubbling, there are still those obvious signs where you can spot and say, oh, there's a change in this person's character, there's this and that. So we've talked about sanguines. Today we're going to be discussing cholerics. We're going to be discussing cholerics. So before we dive into it, we're going to spot out some characteristics of cholerics. Cholerics are goal-oriented. Cholerics are very, very decisive. There are those persons you just like, I don't know what to do. Just I already know what to do. They don't find it difficult to be decisive. They are independent. Cholerics, if they work with a team that looks like they are going to slow them down, cholerics can leave you and say, see, you're not going to drop me down, because they are naturally goal oriented. They are very competent. They are very good with leadership roles. You must have had those kind of persons where you'd be like, oh, I've heard people say, no matter what I do, wherever I go, they always give me leadership role. It's like there's this oil on my head. Yeah, I know there could be oil on your head, but what if it's also a pointer because of your temperament? I've heard cases like that. I also possess something like that because I'm choleric. When it comes to leadership, there are persons that just make this leadership thing look so easy, and they are always on the go. That's choleric. So now, how do you now spot if there is a change in them or a change in you? Like I said, I'm primarily choleric, but there was a certain phase of my life where some life challenges came about, and I noticed I became primarily phlegmatic because of life changes. So how do we now spot it? Number one, we mentioned, or rather, let's not go with numbers. We said cholerics are competent. When you notice that suddenly there is a slack off, they are goal oriented, but suddenly it just feels like, oh, maybe you brought a target and said, okay, we're going to hit this target within a month. Your natural nature is like, oh, let's go. And then suddenly you're like, I don't think so. You start becoming very pessimistic. It could be a pointer to something. It could be fear, actually. But could it also be that some life circumstances has come and then maybe something happened and you're like, I don't want to even take this risk again. Just like what I said, when mine happened, I primarily became phlegmatic. But because I took a very serious risk and it backfired, and I pulled into my shell because I became very scared. Like, oh, what if I do it again? I'm back to my normal self. Because I had to sit down and spot it. So when you notice that suddenly you're no longer goal oriented, anything can go for you. You no longer People cannot rely on you anymore. When it comes to leadership roles, you slack off, natural, just slacking off, and you are no longer competent. You just suddenly start depending on everybody, because cholerics likes to stand out actually. When you get to an organization, trust me, there are those persons that looks as though the spotlight is on them as they're moving, the spotlight is following them. Most times it's choleric persons because they are like that. But suddenly it just feels like, oh, you're hiding under the shadow of people. It's not your nature. It could be a pointer that something is going on. So then how do you now help a choleric person, or how do you help yourself? I could just point out some things. Number one, admit that there's a change. It's easier to help persons that admit that there is a change. But if you feel like nothing changed in me, then it's difficult to help you. Admit that there is a change, then seek help. Part of your ways of seeking help, talk about it. I had to talk to quite a number of persons I trust. Emphasis, I trust, because not everybody you can talk to. Some persons are very insensitive. They probably will just use you to preach sermon, or use you to discuss with friends, or use you to bond over a cup of tea. So you have to be very careful. Talk to somebody about it and understand it's temporal. It's temporal, and also it could be permanent, because some persons are modified in that state. When you grow up, there's a way were modeled in your house. So but when you go through those processes, you could find out that, oh, this is not my natural self, I'm not comfortable in this skin. And it could be that, oh yeah, so actually now I'm more comfortable. I hope this was helpful. Do well to subscribe and share. Comment. Let's hear from you if you've experienced this, or you know somebody has experienced this, or somebody is experiencing this. Can't wait to share with you on the phlegmatic. Thank you.